Hello everyone, welcome to APTI PLUS Academy for Civil Services. This is a special video on Fortnight Current Affair, also known as FCA. In this session, we'll be looking into 10 most important news of the entire fortnight that is going to be relevant both for prelims as well as the mains examination. The coverage of this session include the Hindu, the Indian Express and the PIB, right? So this is Fortnight 1 for the month of February. We have two fortnight every month. The first fortnight is being released on second Sunday and the second fortnight is being released on fourth Sunday, right? So let's get started. And these are the list of the topic that I'll be discussing, 10 topic list. You can pause this video and you can read out the entire list. We'll be looking into each one by one. And if you're new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe APTI PLUS Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do not forget to press a like button. So the first news, that is two new sites has been declared as Ramsar site. This is something very important for prelims examination, considering the fact that for the environment questions, these type of news is very relevant. So which are the two sites that has been included in the Ramsar site? First is Kejadia Bird Sanctuary and other is Bakahira Wildlife Sanctuary. So Kejadia Bird Sanctuary is located at Jamnagar in Gujarat, and Bakahira Wildlife Sanctuary is located in Uttar Pradesh. So both this has been listed as a Ramsar site, and this is a site which has been listed as a wetland of international importance by Ramsar. So what is Ramsar Convention? This is a कन्वेंशन ऑफ इंटरनेशनल ट्रीटी जहाँ पे कंजर्वेशन और सस्टेनेबल ऑफ वेटलैंड को ध्यान में रखते हुए इनको इंक्लूड की जाती है. एंड द अनाउंसमेंट बाय द रामसार सेक्रेटेरिएट कम इन ईरान फ्रॉम द इंटरनेशनल वेटलैंड डे, जो 2 फरवरी को इंटरनेशनल वेटलैंड डे सेलिब्रेट की जाती है, उस टाइम पे इंडिया की ये दो साइट को इस लिस्ट में इंक्लूड की गई. Now with this, the total number of Ramsar site in India has gone up to 48. This is very important. In many competitive examination, they can ask you the number. So present में जो number है, that is 48. Now, what is Kejadia Bird Sanctuary? Where it is located? It is located in Jamnagar. और ये एक ऐसी ecosystem है which has a lot of view from the bird watches. Diverse variety of birds यहाँ पे होती है, along with the freshwater habitat. जो यहाँ पे marshy groves हैं, even sand beaches are there. Even the farmland is bordering the area. And this ecosystem provide a haven for almost 220 species of migratory species. So this is something which can be important for the exam. They can ask you the specification with regards to the Kejadia Bird Sanctuary. Now it's a part of Central Asian Flyway, which has become the 4th wetland of Gujarat in the Ramsar tag. तो गुजरात से ये चौथी ऐसी साइट है जिसको रामसर की टैग मिली हुई है. Now Bakahira Wild Sanctuary, which is located in Sant Kabir Nagar in eastern UP. और ये स्टैब्लिश की गई थी 1980 में एज अ पार्ट ऑफ प्रोटेक्टेड अंडर द वाइल्ड लाइफ प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट 1972 एंड दिस कम इनटू एग्जिस्टेंस इन 1990, राइट. ये एक इंटरनेशनल इंपॉर्टेंस बर्ड लाइफ साइट है जहाँ पे ऑलमोस्ट 80 वैरायटी ऑफ स्पीसीज पाए जाते हैं. एंड इट प्रोवाइड विंटरिंग ग्राउंड ऑफ ऑलमोस्ट 25 स्पीसीज विच माइग्रेट इनटू सेंट्रल एशिया फ्लाईवे. और बहुत इंडेंजर्ड कंट्रीज या फिर अगर बात करें ऐसे स्पीसीज के लाइक इजिप्टियन वल्चर्स, ग्रेट स्पॉटेड ईगल and woolly necked storks. These are some of the endangered species that has to be that reaches this area and make this wildlife more significant. Now the second news, that is bilateral relationship between India and Israel. So recently Prime Minister has met the Israel counterpart और यहाँ पे बात की गई है to build a strong and robust relationship. And this year marked the 30th bilateral relationship or diplomatic relationship between India and Israel, right? Although we recognized Israel in 1950, but जो हमारी diplomatic relations Israel के साथ start हुई थी, that was in 1992, right? So this year marked as a recognition, but the actual bilateral relationship has established in 1992. Now a commemorative logo was launched to mark the 30th anniversaries दोनों countries के बीच में. So this is the exact logo, the official logo. And this carried two important structures that you have to remember. First is the Star of Dravid and Ashoka Chakra. You can see here this two, right? So this depict the culture, from both countries, which also call for the 30-year relationship of friendship between India and Israel. Now there's a different and economic relationship which was established. अगर बात करें डेटाज की, सो इंडिया इज द लार्जेस्ट बायर ऑफ मिलिट्री इक्विपमेंट फ्रॉम इजराइल. रशिया के बाद इजराइल से सबसे ज़्यादा इंडिया import करती है अपने defense requirement को. And India is Israel third largest trade partner in Asia and seventh largest globally. So these are some of the data relevant for prelims examination. And India is also in dialogue with Israel to conclude the free trade agreement. जो FTA की बात है वो भी की जा रही है. And even for many other countries like Australia, India is aligned and pipelined with the free trade agreement. And in same, Israel is also in the list, right? Now, Vision Document 2.0 for electronic manufacturing. We'll see the detail of this as well, how the government is looking forward to boost the electronic manufacturing. So according to the Ministry of Electronic and Information Technology, इन्होंने vision document की है electronic sectors के लिए, and it is something which would be coupled like $300 billion by 2026. So this is the anticipations and roadmap for the manufacturing sector. अगर present में बात करें क्या value है Indian manufacturing sector की, this is valued around $67 billion. And definitely there's a need to look at the transformation of Indian manufacturing sector जहाँ पे competitiveness काफ़ी ज़्यादा है. Now the competitiveness is high, the scale up and export is something that is essentially required in this sector, right? To make this sector more scalable, more exportable, that definitely investment is something that is coming from the government is very important. Now, Vision Document 2.0 एक ऐसी document है जिसपे कुछ specific चीज़ों पे focus की गई है. The segment that has been focused upon include the mobile phone, the first and the foremost priority, information technology and hardware, consumer electronics, wearable and hearable items that is being consumed in India and has a huge market also, LED lighting which is essentially required in each and every household, and electronic components in the electrical vehicles. So if you talk specifically about EV, this is something which is essentially important in due course of time where India is looking forward with the net zero emissions. Now, electronic manufacturing industries की अगर बात करें, this industries has grown up by $37.1 billion. This is for 2015-16. और present में अगर बात करें, at present this is 67.3%. However, due to COVID-19 and the other restriction that India was facing, यहाँ पे जो manufacturing की growth है वो decline हुई है. And even the domestic electronic market is estimated to reach around 150 to 180 billion dollars, right, in the next 4 to 5 years. And the electronic sector has potentially become one of the top exporters in India in the next 3 to 5 years. So these are some of the important points that you must know in terms of electronic and manufacturing industries in India. Chandrayaan 3 set for August launch. Now, this is a good news coming from the space sector. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, the work progress was definitely delayed. So according to the Department of Space, the Indian जो ISRO है उन्होंने कहा है they are set to launch Chandrayaan 3. This is in August 2022. So this is a follow-up of Chandrayaan 2 which was not successful by India. तो ये मिशन उसी के continuations में है जहाँ पे rover lunar south pole पे जाएगी. And it was sent earlier also by the geosynchronous launch vehicle GSLV Mark 3 के through launch की गई थी September 2019 में, but due to some error and the landing crash that has took place, जो प्रज्ञान थी वो successfully launch नहीं कर पाई moon पे, right? And the mission has, for this time the government is looking that अगर ये पिछले बार भी अगर ये सक्सेस हो जाती फॉर द चंद्रयान 2 इफ इट वाज सक्सेसफुल, तो इंडिया एक ऐसी कंट्री बनती जो कि अपने मेडन अटेम्प्ट में ही ऐसे सक्सेस कर पाती. बट नो वरीज, देयर इज ऑलवेज अ वे अहेड. सो दिस इज अ थर्ड अटेम्प्ट ऑफ चंद्रयान एंड वी आर वेरी होपफुल इन दिस पार्ट दैट इंडिया वुड मेक अ सक्सेसफुल अटेम्प्ट. So delayed due to pandemic, जैसा मैंने आपको कहा कि due to pandemic there was a lot of structural problem that was ongoing, specifically with regards to hardware and special test. And the major satellite launch that ISRO is going to conduct, apart from this, would be Earth Observatory Satellite 3 that is scheduled for August and Amazonia Satellite in February, right, for this month only. और ISRO ने इसके अलावा 19 और मिशंस प्लान किए हुए हैं जिसमें 8 लॉन्च व्हीकल्स मिशंस हैं, 7 spacecraft mission and other as 4 technology demonstrator mission. So this is how the revival of space sector is coming post pandemic. You can say it's still pandemic is not over, but we have some relaxation because the cases is not rising. So we can term at this time as a post pandemic period. Now center to discuss aviation fuel inclusion in GST. Again, very important point because there has been debate with regards to the inclusion of aviation fuel into the GST. So according to the Ministry of Finance, सेंटर ये डिसाइड करेगी कि क्या जो aviation turbine fuel, which is also known as ATF, that should be included in the goods and services tax, right? So this has to be decided by the GST Council, because जिस तरह से global fuel की prices है वो बढ़ रही है, this is a concern for our country also. And global crude oil prices are hovering around $90 per barrel. सो एक्चुअली जीएसटी वॉज रोल्ड आउट इन 2019, जहाँ पे बहुत सारे जो टैक्सेस थे उनको एमलगेट किया गया था. इट वॉज बीइंग कंसोलिडेटेड टू वन, बट देयर वर सम टैक्सेस विच वॉज नॉट इंक्लूडेड, राइट. कौन कौन से ऐसे टैक्सेस थे जहाँ पे क्रूड ऑयल, नेचुरल गैसेस, पेट्रोलियम, डीजल और एयर टर्बाइन जो फ्यूल थी, दिस वॉज नॉट द पार्ट ऑफ द जीएसटी. और इसमें किस तरह से टैक्स ली जाती थी, बिकॉज जो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट है वो अपनी एक्सरसाइज ड्यूटी लेती थी एटीएफ पे, और जो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट है वो वैट चार्ज करती थी इन पे. सो दिस इज हाउ दे वर वर्किंग पैरेलली इन टर्म्स ऑफ कंट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ द टैक्सेस. बट नाउ द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया इज लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड टू एमलगेट जितने भी ये जो commodities है, 5 commodities, to include into one, and the center would be sharing the GST के जो पूरी कलेक्शंस होंगी उनके सेस को भी शेयर किया जाएगा, and even all other things would be shared with the state government. But there is again a debate which is ongoing between the center and the state, जहाँ पे शॉर्टफॉल की बात कही गई है जीएसटी के कलेक्शंस में, और सेंटर ने अपनी पूरी अमाउंट भी स्टेट्स को नहीं दी है. सो देयर इज अ पेंडिंग अमाउंट which is still existing, so we have to see how the state is going to agree on this part. Now, Operation this is again something very important. This is operation that will help, especially to curb down the trafficking under this mission. So, Railway Protection Force has launched the nationwide operation, which is known as Operation Ahar, to curb the human trafficking. और ये ऑपरेशन जो है स्पेशल टीम डिप्लॉयड की गई है वैसे ट्रेन्स एरिया पे, ट्रेन रूट्स पे जो कि लॉन्ग डिस्टेंस ट्रेन रूट्स है, एंड दिस विल फोकसिंग अपॉन द विक्टिम्स, चाइल्ड, वुमेन्स, ताकि उनको रेस्क्यू किया जा सके ट्रैफिकर्स से. So how this is going to be executed, एक infrastructure और intelligence network बनाने की बात की गई है, which would be collecting, correlating and analyzing the data of victim, and even they can inform their kingpin, उनके जो blood relations हैं उनको भी बताई जाएगी कोई भी information होती है, and these data would be shared with the law enforcement agencies. Now the RPF would act as a bridge between the state and the mission, because this would be, because state की जो interference पुलिस, वो रेलवे के लिए dedicated पुलिस है हमारे पास RPF, जो कि सारी चीज़ों को देखती है. So cyber cell would be started patrolling with the social media, and they will look into the digital footprint of the human trafficking. So each and every station in the basically अगर बात करें इंडियन रेलवेज की, गूगल की रेल वायर वहाँ ऑपरेट कर रही है, और सारी जगह पे सीसीटीवी फुटेज भी इंक्लूड की जाएगी, सो दैट इट कैन इनहांस द लेवल ऑफ ऑपरेशंस. एंड द फोकस शुड बी केप्ट ऑन मोर ऑन एजिनेटिंग ट्रेन, खास करके ऐसे रीजन से जो हमारे बॉर्डर कंट्रीज के जो है, वहाँ पे नेपाल, बांग्लादेश और म्यांमार, these 3 countries के आसपास से जितनी भी स्टेशंस हैं उनमें जितने भी पैसेंजर्स ट्रैवल करेंगे उन पे खासा ध्यान रखा जाएगा. Now, thousands of Indian persons from neighboring countries have been trafficking from part like Nepal, Bhutan, इस जगह से काफ़ी ज़्यादा slavery के भी लोगों को लाई गई है. And India और Indian Railways की बात करें to operate almost 21,000 train every day, right? So this is a large number, and to monitor would be again require a lot more infrastructure and technological upgradations. तो देखना होगा किस तरह से इस चीज़ों को, खास करके ये देखा गया इन रिसेंट टाइम दैट इलीगल एडॉप्टेशंस, ऑर्गन ट्रांसप्लांट एंड बेगिंग इंडस्ट्रीज, खास करके जो बेगिंग जिस तरह से काम कर रही है, इन सारी चीज़ों को बंद किया जा सके. एंड इवन द एंटरटेनमेंट इंडस्ट्री हैज़ बीन यूजिंग दिस पीपल for their livelihood and other stuffs, right? So let's see how things are working, because we are optimist in this manner that अगर ये initiations होती हैं तो बहुत लोगों को इससे rescue किया जा सकेगा. Now, Center sent fresh proposal to amend IS cadre rule. This was again a debated issue which we have discussed in our daily news analysis also. So, according to the Department of Personnel Training, इन्होंने कहा है कि ये amend कर रहे हैं Rule 6 of the Indian Administrative Service, that is of 1954, right? और ये 3 services को include करती है, that is the IES, Indian Administrative Service, Indian Police Services, and Indian Forest Services, right? So these are the 3 services which is a part of all India services. Now currently states जो हैं वो वीटो कर सकती हैं अगर उनको डेपुटेशंस में भेजना है अपने ऑफिसर्स को, तो जो रूल्स सेक्शन 6 के अंदर आती हैं उसमें ये स्टेट्स को पावर दी गई है, राइट? एंड इवन नाउ व्हाट दे विल बी डूइंग आफ्टर दिस अमेंडमेंट, 12 डेज का टाइम दिया जाएगा. अगर स्टेट गवर्नमेंट अपनी रिकमेंडेशंस नहीं देती हैं, अपनी एनओसी नहीं देती हैं, तो ये माना जाएगा कि उन्होंने अप्रूव कर दिया. सो कॉन्फ्रेंस विद द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट इज अगेन इशू बिकॉज एग्जिस्टिंग रूल अलाउ करती है स्टेट को वीटो करने के लिए, बट इस तरह के रूल्स अब एप्लीकेबल नहीं होंगे स्टेट्स के पास. सो लेट्स सी हाउ दिस इज गोइंग टू बी पास बिकॉज स्टिल देयर इज अ लॉट मोर डिबेट कमिंग फ्रॉम अदर स्टेट्स. तो कुछ स्टेट्स के रिस्पॉन्स की अगर बारे में बात करूँ, हरियाणा, मणिपुर, मध्य प्रदेश, त्रिपुरा, उत्तर प्रदेश, गुजरात एंड अरुणाचल प्रदेश, जो भी बीजेपी रूल्ड स्टेट है उन्होंने इसे पास कर दिया, बट 5 स्टेट्स आर अगेंस्ट दिस, दैट इज उड़ीसा, मेघालय, झारखंड, राजस्थान एंड वेस्ट बंगाल. दे सेड that this is something which is against the cooperative federalism of our country. So, 3 chief ministers of this other states, that Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and Telangana, has also have raised their concern regarding this particular rules. So shortage of all India services offices की हुई है because government has increased the number of vacancies for the joint secretaries. उसको ध्यान में रखते हुए जो deployment होनी चाहिए, जो deputations होनी चाहिए, वो कम है. This is what the central secretariat has to say, and the available officers are not sufficient to meet the requirement of the central government. Now, PM hosted first India Central Asia Summit, again something very important for the Central Asian countries. तो प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने रिसेंटली होस्ट किया था 27 ऑफ जनवरी को. 5 इंपॉर्टेंट कंट्रीज वर द पार्ट ऑफ दिस, दैट इंक्लूड कजाकिस्तान, किर्गिस्तान, ताजिकिस्तान, तुर्कमेनिस्तान एंड यूबेकिस्तान. सो दीज वर द पार्ट ऑफ द सेंट्रल एशिया समिट. फोकस एरिया क्या थे समिट की? दैट इंक्लूड ट्रेड एंड कनेक्टिविटी, बिल्डिंग डेवलप पार्टनरशिप, enhancing culture and people to people connect. So these were some of the focuses area upon which the summit existed. Now, ट्रेड को बूस्ट करने की बात की गई है ड्यूरिंग द कॉन्फ्रेंस. द फोकस ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर कंट्रीज इंक्लूडिंग इंडिया was to enhance the trade, and this can reach up to 2 billion at present, which is coming from energy and import from the Kazakhstan, right? तो इंडिया ने एक्सटेंड की है 1 billion line of credit for the development of energy, healthcare, connectivity, IT and agriculture in 2020. So these are some of the efforts which was already made by India. Now, India has also poses an increase in the number of educational opportunities for the Central Asian student, because many universities in India like Jawaharlal Nehru University, Delhi University, South Asian universities, these are some of the important universities that is acting for many Central Asian students to come and study in India, right? And India hoped to build a trilateral working group at Chabahar, where Iran and Uzbekistan is going to strengthen the connectivity issue with all the countries. Now, second Brahmos order from Philippines. This is something which will also help to build a healthy relationship between India and Philippines. तो एक मेजर आर्म एक्सपोर्ट की अगर बात करें, दिस इज द सेकेंड एक्सपोर्ट दैट इज टेकिंग प्लेस इन टर्म्स ऑफ एक्सपोर्ट ऑफ द ब्रह्मोस. पहले भी फिलीपींस ने एक ऑर्डर और दी है, एंड दिस इज द सेकेंड ऑर्डर अलाइंड विद दैट. So, right, so this particular order is worth of 375 million, which will give much needed flip to India's defense export. And the mile has 290 kilometers range, and it is jointly produced by India and Russia. तो एक्विजिशन जो की गई है ब्रह्मोस की, दिस इज बाय फिलीपींस आर्मी. उनके जो प्रोग्राम है हॉरिजन 3 मॉडर्नाइजेशन प्रोग्राम ऑफ फिलीपींस. द टाइम ड्यूरेशन फॉर दिस इज 2023 to 27. Now, what is Brahmos? Brahmos is a joint venture between India and Russia, and this name has come from the river, that is Brahmaputra, and Moskva in river, that is there in Russia. And the missile is capable of being launched from land, sea, subsea, air against the surface. और सी बेस्ड टारगेट को इंक्लूड की जाएगी. खास करके जो इंडियन आर्म फोर्सेस हैं उनमें ये काफ़ी एक एडवांस लेवल ऑफ मिसाइल सिस्टम देखी गई है, विच इज़ ऑल्सो हैविंग इंडिया एंड मेनी अदर कंट्रीज. Now, defense attachment was also the part of the agreement. So, India is growing the military diplomacy, and the issues of increasing the defense attachment has been raised, and it has also been a red tapeism issues because there was some clearance which was not given. So, ये essentially देखी गई है that Brahmos system, the Philippines is looking for India as a whole, जहाँ पे military hardware और जो military modernization है उसको scale up किया जाएगा. Indian shipyard has the past completed small supply of frigates, जहाँ पे फिलीपींस नेवीज के साथ साउथ कोरिया में भी इस तरह की एक्सरसाइज कंडक्ट की गई. Now, in 2017 दोनों कंट्रीज ने मेमोरेंडम ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग साइन की थी, जो लॉजिस्टिक ऑपरेशंस और स्ट्रेंथनिंग द लॉजिस्टिक सपोर्ट सर्विसेज एंड प्रोडक्शन, प्रोक्योरमेंट और डिफेंस मटेरियल को लेकर की थी. Now, this contract include the delivery of 3 missile batteries, training of operations, maintenance, as well as necessary integrated logistic support that India and Philippines would be working upon. Now, India Sri Lanka signed loan agreement. As we know that Sri Lanka is ongoing with the economic crisis because of the huge debt from China, right? तो चाइना की तरफ से huge debt होने की वजह से श्रीलंका जो है that is facing economic crisis. So recently, India has extended 500 million as an assistance and a line of credit purchasing. So ये जो 500 million की line of credit दी गई है, this is to purchase the petroleum product to Sri Lanka currently, which is has a worst foreign exchange crisis that the Sri Lanka has even seen. So Sri Lankan government is expected to invite bids from Indian supplier and soon it will finalize the imports. Now, India ने multiple line of credit दी हैं श्रीलंका को. This is not for the first time. India has already provided. The line of credit span come from the nominal interest rate of 2%. This is what India has offered. And Sri Lankan government is expected to invite the bid of Indian supplier to finalize the import very soon. Recently, January 22 में इंडिया ने फिर से दोबारा 400 मिलियन की करेंसी स्वैप भी दी है श्रीलंका को, विच इज ऑल्सो रेफरिंग टू अनदर 500 मिलियन डो सेटलमेंट फॉर एशियन क्लियरिंग यूनियन, राइट. तो वहाँ से क्लियर हो जाती है, तो फिर जो डॉलर या फिर फॉरेक्स रिजर्व की क्रंच श्रीलंका फेस कर रही है उसमें बहुत हद तक उनको मदद मिलेगी. So let's understand what is line of credit. Line of credit होती क्या है? This line of credit is a facility which is extended by a bank to any other financial institution और government या किसी business entity को या किसी individual को जो government line of credit देती है तो वो enable करती है customer को to withdraw the maximum loan amount with a stipulated rate of interest. For India and Sri Lanka, this is fixed at 2%, right? And the borrower can access the fund from the line of credit at as long as time it has the agreement, right? तो जब तक agreement है उसको वो उस facility को use कर सकते हैं with a stipulated set of interest that both countries has signed under the agreement. So this is how the line of credit actually works. So this was all about the FCA for the month of January. And just to tell you that we have launched Prelims Test Series 2022. This is a 60 test prelims test series which you can also avail with IS Gazetted magazine. दो 12 month की subscriptions भी आपको मिलेगी जिसमें 38 टेस्ट होंगे, 5 previous year questions, 7 monthly current affairs and 10 full length tests. So in total there would be 60 high quality tests which you can avail. For more details you can refer to the description section of this video where I provided a dedicated link, right? So do check it out. If you have any other concern you can let me know. Apart from this, we have a lot more other initiative on YouTube like daily news and editorial analysis, IS Gazetted magazines, FCA, PIB, MPR, and just of Yojana and Kurukshetra. So this was all about this session. We'll meet in next session. Thank you so much for watching this video.